This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Kicking off hour 2 of Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you live in downtown Las Vegas from Circa Resort and Casino. Lots to come this hour. Talking plenty Monday Night Football with the Dolphins and Steelers going head-to-head later on tonight. We'll discuss some potential prop betting options here in a moment. We also have Do You Approve This Move? Looking at all of the numbers that have shifted already, looking ahead to Week 16 in the NFL. A little college football as well, with not only the college football playoff games that we have coming up this weekend, but some big-name quarterbacks who have entered the transfer portal and other news items there. But I did want to start with an item that we had in the NFL over the last half an hour or so, where Colts head coach Shane Steichen told reporters this morning that Phillip Rivers will start again next Monday against the San Francisco 49ers. And you might think, well, yeah, we figured as much after he came and played this past weekend. They take him out of retirement. Yeah, but you might not have heard that Anthony Richardson is looking to be coming back and cleared for football activities after being placed on injured reserve for a fractured orbital bone. So he is remaining. He is coming back for football activities, yet he will not be the starter this week. Yeah, so I'm kind of wrestling with this because initially, so the response to a lot of the pushback here on like why wouldn't Anthony Richardson start? Some of the reporters from Indianapolis are responding and saying, well, he's coming off of injury and, is only going to get this week to get ready. To whichever response is, yeah, I can't imagine a quarterback just needing a week to get ready for a start. When has that ever happened in the NFL, except for it just happened this week with Phillip Rivers? You also don't play until Monday, so it's an extra day to theoretically get ready, get him prepared, get his body ready. Some of the stuff that Steichen said that I was reading some of the comments of, he's just getting back in the building, he's running, he's lifting weights. Like, it was an eye injury. It wasn't a lower body injury, so I don't think you're too worried about that. We'll see. The official wording from Steichen is that he will start this week. That leaves the door open for the last 2 games of the season. And, as it has been pointed out, Steichen has been known to be a liar. The infamous Joe Flacco will be our starting quarterback for the rest of the season. Sure. That did not last. Joe Flacco was awful for 3 games, and then they benched him. So nothing is set in stone, to use the cliche. But I just go back to what got us all here, which was in the offseason and the questions and this team. Don't you at some point have to understand what you have with Anthony Richardson? Don't you want more than 2 games? Because this is the opportunity. Because now that Jones is hurt, this is the perfect time to find out if he's developed, if you can do whatever. Maybe he's not. Probably isn't. Somebody tweeted me, was like, he's cheeks. And I was like, yeah, he might be. But we also kind of have to find out at some point. This, to me, tells me that Shane Steichen feels like he already knows. Sure. Like, that's what it seems like to me, and it seemed like that from the beginning when they had no problem moving on to Daniel Jones from day 1 of the season. Or is Shane Steichen scared for his job, and he desperately does believe that Phillip Rivers is, like, the best option? Listen, it was a 2-point game against one of the best teams in the league yesterday. And it was all Phillip Rivers. All 120 of those yards. The defense played inspired for him. Yep. I cannot believe that's something I reminder again, we mentioned it in the first hour of the program, but Phillip Rivers, after the performance yesterday, odds cut from 18-1 to 16-1 to now 5-1. Second shot on the board behind Christian McCaffrey, who's odds on for comeback player of the year. That said, another awards market that we were kind of discussing a little bit in relation to everything with Indy, because they are facing the 49ers on Monday Night Football, was Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel no longer an odds-on number at the top of that market. He's plus 120. Mike McDonald for Seattle plus 450, as is Liam Cohen. Ben Johnson plus 650, and then you've got Kyle Shanahan right there at 10-1. And he's a name that we discussed from the very beginning of the season and the offseason. Yeah. We're like, 30-1 seems a little bit high, I guess, for a 49ers team that lost as many games as they did last year because the turnaround is supposed to be such a big thing. But then you go, okay, maybe he won't get credit because there's so much talent on this roster. Well, all of that talent has been injured this year. I feel like he deserves a ton of credit for the success that this team has had. If they win 12 games, I mean, even if they don't win the division, if they win 12 games with everything that's happened with this team, I don't know how you're not looking at this as one of the better coaching jobs, if not the best coaching job in the league this year. I mean, you lose Nick Bosa and Fred Warner on defense for the season. You're playing on third string guys, by the way, in both of those positions because those guys got injured. You didn't have your starting quarterback for the bulk of the year. Your all-pro tight end wasn't available for how many games? Juwan Jennings, the wide receiver room as a whole was just a disaster for how many games. You never saw Brandon Ayuk. Like, if you want Christian McCaffrey being healthy, was such a security blanket, sure. But you also, as a head coach, have to figure out a way to like schematically get him the ball and figure out like, yeah, they have no pass rush on defense, yet they've still been able to do enough to win games. And I think that's what matters at the end of the day is winning games.
Well, I mean, who knows what, like in the grand scheme of playing the Seattle Seahawks and all these other teams, who knows how good the 49ers really are as we head into the postseason. The whole point here, though, is like the coaching job. How well have you put this team together as the leader of it? And if Vrabel continues to slip, they could lose this game against Baltimore.
Yeah.
And if they lose this game to Baltimore, and if the Bills take that division from them, what is the case for Mike Vrabel if they're just a wild card team and this offense maybe starts to drift out, especially if the defense, too? I mean, you run into your first competent opponent in months, and that's what your defense offers up, especially in that second half. That's not good for New England. So there's a reality where the guy at the top is maybe going to slip from this. Now, there's a lot of good candidates. There's Liam Cohen, Mike McDonald, Ben Johnson. But I think when you talk about dealing with adversity and maximizing what you've gotten out of your roster with that adversity, it's hard not to make the case for a guy like Kyle Shanahan right now.
Did want to remind you guys, as it is the holiday season right now, the 7 days of Profit Xmas giveaway is going on right now. If you haven't heard of Profit X, it's the #1 sports prediction market out there right now, and they're launching a special from Christmas Day through New Year's. You can win 7 different prizes just by making a $50 play on any CFP first-round game December 19th or 20th. Every $50 qualifying play earns you additional entries, too. Prizes include clothing brand gift cards, even a $500 credit toward your rent or mortgage, whatever you want to use it for. Download ProfitX and use the promo code VSIN, VSIN, to get started. We did a little peer-to-peer wager earlier. Should have thrown it in ProfitX.
How much were you?
$20.
$20, yeah.
Just a cool 20. Like Anthony Richardson's coming back. It's like $20 says it's Phil.
I'll buy you.
There we go.
Big beer.
Let's look
really quick.
Sure.
I don't know if this was news, but it was announced today, just a couple minutes ago, because we're getting all media availabilities right now. But Joe Burrow is going to start the rest of the season. I mean, they're obviously eliminated. There's nothing left for them to play. But Zach Taylor said, quote, "We want to win." So Burrow, at the very least, there is no doubt. I'm sure that was probably maybe a small topic of conversation, but Burrow will be their guy moving forward.
Okay. Monday Night Football on deck as we wrap up the Week 15 slate in the NFL. Miami getting 3 in Pittsburgh, taking on the Steelers here. They have been surging the last handful of weeks, but Pittsburgh in a position here as well where they need to do everything they can to maintain that lead in the AFC North. From a prop betting perspective, as you kind of went through each team's strengths and weaknesses, what stood out to you?
I mean, I think it starts, and for me at least, it starts and ends with Achane. So to recap some of these numbers for him, as we have discussed, since week 8, he's run for 654 yards. He's averaging 6.3 yards per attempt. His explosive run rate is up to 22.1%. He's got 23 runs of 10 or more yards. This team has changed the way that they have run the football. They're using a lot more big bodies. They're generating some of these explosives. And you're taking on a Steelers team that, you pointed out, everybody knows T.J. Watt's not going to be out there.
Yep.
For the run defense, maybe it's not that much, especially because this has been a pretty poor run defense overall anyway. Opponent expected points added per rush. They're 28th in the NFL. We look at some of these other different metrics for Pittsburgh. Adjusted line yards allowed per carry, 21st. Second-level yards allowed per carry, 17th. 20th in open field yards allowed per carry. So essentially they do have a penchant for giving up some explosive runs on the ground. If there was a guy who could get over his longest rush attempt against this defense, I think it makes some sense. 18.5, some of the numbers out there, over minus 105. But I feel like Achane getting an explosive run here today seems like it's in the cards. Wouldn't be surprised if it went over 82.5 yards also, but I feel like looking at Pittsburgh's profile and what we've seen from Achane and the Dolphins offense, that's the way I'm looking.
I wanted to ask you about the running back situation on the other side of things as well, just with the news this morning that Jaylen Warren is reportedly dealing with an illness, needed some fluids. There's optimism about him playing. The expectation is that he will, but could that maybe limit him to an extent? Should we be looking toward a little more Kenneth Gainwell? How do you see it?
I just feel like you're trying to play a game there if you're guessing whether or not. We talk about all the time.
I was going to say, how many times have we been like, oh, maybe he's going to be on a bit of a pitch count and then he goes off?
Yeah, or just gets his normal workload, whatever it is. I just think that if he's going to play, don't you have to just assume that he's going to be Jaylen Warren and that he is going to get whatever production that you project for him to have in whatever game that he's playing in? So that's my thought. If he's going to be out there, you got to think that this is going to be something that he can get done. The Dolphins defense, different little things here that really stick out, but you talk about explosive runs. It's a team open field yards per carry. They're 29th. Second level, they're 21st. They do tend to give up some big runs themselves, so maybe Warren can generate one. I think the real question is, what does the offense look like? A week after where all of a sudden you woke up and you were throwing the ball downfield and you were getting 20-plus yard completions. Did they just go away from Warren only because they're starting to open this passing game up a little bit more?
Another thing I'm trying to figure out here is how much of the Dolphins' defensive uptick are we supposed to believe in, right? Because you look at their last 4 games and they hold Buffalo to 13, Washington to 13 points, New Orleans to 17, the Jets last week to just 10 points. But I mean, how highly do we think of at least 3 of the 4 of those teams? I don't know. So that's something that I was kind of struggling with in this one, especially knowing that they gave up, almost 30 to a beat-up Ravens team not too long ago as well.
Yeah, and that's the weird part about it is of the opponents that you're talking about, the best one, they beat 30-13 in Buffalo in terms of the offenses. But everyone else, we're talking about 16th or lower in one catch-all metric, expected points added per play. I would think that the Buffalo game is – right, the blip on the radar, that the more consistent,
like that's the anomaly.
Yeah, that the more consistent thing is going to be, hey, you run into an adequate offense, and this is what's going to happen. And look, it is it's a fair thing to wonder. We will use the Patriots as the example. The Patriots defense had been we've talked about it, they're kind of like just barely above average, even though they're not really facing anybody. They run into Buffalo yesterday and just get completely decimated. Yeah. The question is also, are the Steelers that offense though to actually make that happen? That's why this game's weird, man.
This is a tough one.
It's a 3-point spread. I think that the HN angle is something I'll have tonight, but it's a priced game that I think give me 3. But there's so many different angles to this.
And we will hit you, by the way, again at the end of this hour with some of just the interesting stats associated with the Steelers, with Mike Tomlin, Monday night, TJ Watt. There are a handful of really interesting trends and some conflicting ones as well. That said, as we take our first time out here of this hour, we've got Do You Approve This Move coming up next, looking at some of the movers and shakers in the market ahead of Week 16.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Listen, we talk all the time on this network about making smart bets, and smart advertisers are doing the same thing with Mission Media. If you want real results, Mission Media connects your brand with audiences that actually engage. From premium podcasts and connected TV to data-driven digital campaigns, they're delivering measurable ROI. And as VSiN's exclusive ad partner, Mission Media gives you direct access to one of the most loyal, best action-oriented sports audiences anywhere. Your brand deserves more than impressions. It deserves influence. Get started at VSiN.com/advertise or email advertising@VSiN.com.
Odds move up, odds move down. Let's see where the odds are moving today in Do You Approve This Move?
Oh, let's get it rolling as we welcome you back here to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Do you approve this move? Looking ahead to the Week 16 lines that are on the move from their openers and look-ahead lines. And we've got a fun one in the NFC West coming up on Thursday with Seattle Seahawks and Los Angeles Rams. Actually seen a flip of favorites in this one coming out of the week's results. Seattle opened a 1.5-point favorite. Now we're looking at the Los Angeles Rams in the favorites role here. Do you approve the move?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think the question is, Rams on the road, do they deserve to be favored after the last time in Seattle, how close that was? But Darnold has not played well, man. Mm-hmm. He's not played well. This offense has been disjointed. It has been inexplicably inefficient, and I do wonder if that's just going to continue. Look, Darnold deserves credit. For the second straight year, he is playing in a game in a standalone spot with the 1 seed in his respective conference on the line. So there's something to that. But there's also something to these late-season swoons that we have seen from him and his offenses happened last year in the last 2 games, and here we are again.
I also wonder, though, how much you can totally put on Darnold because they can't run the ball to save their life either.
Sure.
That's not, fair to criticize him for. When you do have a championship-level defense on the other side, you just wish that it could all come together, maybe not be so one-dimensional that forces Sam Darnold to be in that position, too.
It definitely feels like we're, near top of the market now, though, right, with L.A.?
Yes.
This is the highest. We're pretty high on the power rating.
Now.
That the second best team in the NFC is going to be a home dog here. It's only 1.5, and it makes sense. I'm not going to question it. I think the Rams are the best team in the National Football League. There's tons of evidence to that point. But Stafford didn't exactly like this defense up when they played out there in Seattle.
And I think we potential for a hell of a game, especially knowing the Seahawks. I mean, I don't want to say that they could have been looking ahead a little bit to this game, but maybe it lingers there in the back of your mind. And coming off of a performance where you feel like you deserved better against a 44-year-old quarterback, maybe you're going to try to exercise some of those demons in L.A. We shall see.
By the way, I think I said this is in Seattle. I said in Seattle last time.
It's okay.
It was in L.A. last time.
It's okay.
I apologize.
Packers and Bears going head-to-head. This one in Chicago. Green Bay out from 3.5 on the road to 1.5-point favorites here. Do you approve the 2-point move?
So I guess yes, right? I mean, Parsons isn't going to play. This is some sort of a downgrade for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, look, 24 hours ago, they were laying this number to the Denver Broncos on the road. So you clearly see a little bit of a shift here. Hard to argue, given what we have seen from them, the injuries that they're suffering, and the fact that Parsons isn't going to be out there. Yeah, I told their friend Kendall Valenzuela, I do it weekly on Sirius XM Fantasy, and somebody had asked, I guess one of their audience, like, hey, what do you think of the Bears money line? And I was like, I'm the wrong person to ask for both these teams, because I'm like Packer curious, but this team continues to let you down in big spots, and I've taken my shots against the Chicago Bears many times each of the last few weeks, including this last week where I had Cleveland +8, and that didn't get there. So I think that this is warranted, but you probably have a better read than I do, considering I've been wrong on both these teams.
I mean, have I been right on them either? Like, this is...
I just know I've been wrong a lot on them.
I feel like we barely got by laying the Packers the first time around against the Bears. That I don't necessarily know how I see it this time, especially with Green Bay's injuries adding up. I told you, I know I don't believe in them big picture, but against this team, I don't know. I approve the move. I just don't know which way I want to play it. I'm not sold on either side necessarily. Okay. Bills at Browns. So Buffalo obviously mounts the massive comeback in New England yesterday, and the ensuing move, 2 points up from 8.5 to 10.5-point favorites on the road in Cleveland.
Well, now that we know that Kevin Stefanski is actively sabotaging his quarterback by giving him the wrong wristband for these games, I mean, you have to knock this down.
Also, Shedeur said his card fell out.
No. He's just covering for Kevin Stefanski. He knows that he has been set up to fail by the Cleveland Browns. Don't you know this? Come on.
I thought Jerry Jeudy was doing that.
That too, as well. I think everybody in the Browns building actively hates Shedeur Sanders. I guess it's warranted. I think this is a two-way street, right? This is the Buffalo Bills looking the way they did in offense and coming back and winning that game. This is Cleveland very clearly being downgraded after failing to cover a number last week. And the market did support Cleveland last week. It was 8. It closed about 7.5, depending on where you shop. And that was not something that came to fruition. So I think it makes some sense given where Cleveland is at right now against a team that the market, I think, does want to believe in. We've talked about this with Buffalo. I mean, they got driven up to a 2.5-point favorite on the road against the New England Patriots. You look at these market power ratings. They're staunchly in that tier of the second-best teams in the NFL. The market, I think, wants to buy here on Buffalo, and now they're starting to see some evidence that they can since that loss to the Houston Texans.
2-point swing toward the over as well from 40.5 up to 42.5. Then we've got the Jets at the Saints. Jets didn't even show up, it felt like, at moments yesterday against a New Orleans team that's probably riding pretty high the way they've played. An important division win for them as they sweep the Carolina Panthers yesterday, but now in unfamiliar territory, back in the favorites role, out from 3.5 to 4.5-point favorites. And worth noting, the Jets did, by the way, fire their defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes this morning as well.
What do you want to do with this?
Stay away.
Tyler Shuck, Offensive Rookie of the Year campaign continues.
This is a gross game. This will not make our Sunday feed.
I will say, when I saw it, I just mentally kind of go through each one of them and go, I think Saints will be the play. Like, I don't think I will, but if you're telling me pick a side or else, it's going to be New Orleans.
I absolutely approve the move, but should they be over a field goal favorite?
I think you could argue, yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, the market was wrong on it last week.
Sure.
Yesterday, I keep doing that. Last week.
But it was still a close down to the wire game, too, in which they were down double digits late. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
All right, so you like the Jets?
No, I don't like either one of them. I think it's a gross line that I'll probably be staying off of. I'm going to laugh when in 2 days I'm like, you know what, I love New Orleans. But I'm not there right now.
Jets will be a teaser leg for you for sure.
After what they did to me?
You're the frog that caught in her throat. She's like, you know what? I didn't think about that.
I haven't thought about my teaser legs yet, but after what they did to me yesterday, no. Vikings and Giants. Vikings. I mean, I think it's fair to say you got to be impressed with what they did yesterday. Sure. No. In New York, taking on the Giants, they get bet out from 1.5-point favorites to 2.5 right now. 2-point swing on the total toward the over as well following the win against Dallas. 44.5 that total.
Hey, look, this is why, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Also, too, I mean, was it CBS? Who's what are you laughing at?
I don't like that phrase.
The quarterback rankings that we saw that even I admittedly said were disrespectful because they put Phillip Rivers ahead of J.J. McCarthy.
That shook me to my core.
McCarthy very quietly putting together 2 straight very good games and 2 of his best games of his career. 5 touchdowns, 1 interception over his last 2 starts. Last night, really good. Now his Dallas defense, but 10.4 yards per attempt, the 2 touchdowns. His highest PFF grade for a single individual game of his career. Like, there's a turnaround potentially happening here for J.J. McCarthy. And at the very least, for a Vikings team that we know can play relatively solid defense, I think it makes some sense that you would at least head in that direction. And also the Giants, I mean, what are we doing here? Your boy gets checked in for another concussion for the 5th time in 10 games. I just don't understand. Like, this team looks like the Giants are lucky the Raiders exist, or else they would look like the most dysfunctional franchise.
Speaking of which, cannot wait to see the updated market ratings later on this week. The first of 2 critical games in the NFC South between the Panthers and Bucks, seeing a line move in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well, even with this game at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, out from Tampa being a 1.5-point favorite to a full 3 I'm seeing right now.
Makes sense. Can't trust your boys. Although in the role of home underdog, makes a little bit more sense.
It's like every other week they show up, so maybe this is the week.
And they're at home catching points. They've been brilliant in that role over the last couple of years.
And the Bucks have just been crumbling every single week, it feels like. What is it, 5 of their last 6?
Yeah, we should point out, because you did put these together earlier, it is 3 across the board here.
Yes.
So you're catching a full 3 with the Carolina Panthers.
Boop. Bucks lost 5 of their last 6, and they're getting bet out. That's just, it's such a rough look for Carolina. They kill me. Okay, last few of these, of course, we know the significant injury in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes done for the year with the torn ACL. Kansas City on the look-ahead line was a 10.5-point favorite. That's now just down to 3.5 in Tennessee, taking on the Titans. A 3-point swing on the total as well toward the under from 40.5 to 37.5. Falcons, Cardinals, the lesser sexy NFC West game we've got coming up this week. Arizona out from 1.5 to 2.5-point home favorites. From a 1.5-point favorite on the look ahead to Atlanta, a 2.5-point favorite here. And then the aforementioned Raiders, it does not look good for them in Houston. The Texans out from 11.5 to 14.5-point favorites. And then 49ers Colts, we talked about Phillip Rivers being named the starting quarterback for that Monday night football game against the 49ers. And they're getting played down from 7-point dogs to 5.5.
I guess averaging 3.7 yards per play is a positive.
Hey, some 6s are popping up, so we're getting some buyback.
7 seems like a more fair number to me. We'll see.
I don't know. The 49ers aren't good.
Paul Bowie does not like the 49ers. He has been DMing me, I think, for a while.
They can't be that bad, Paul.
Yeah. Feels very passionate about it.
We got to step aside here when we come back. Apparently, today was the start of college football quarterbacks announcing they're hitting the transfer portal. We've got some interesting names to discuss, plus a first look at the college football playoff getting underway this week.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This Monday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, the VSiN Watch app, YouTube TV, wherever you're watching or listening, we appreciate it. You want to join in on any of the conversation, tweet at us at MeJVT, at Storm Buonantony, at VSiN Live, or shoot us an email, moneymoves@vsin.com, the email handle there. We do have a few news items that are coming out in the NFL. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says, according to his sources, the Commanders are shutting down Jaden Daniels for the remaining 3 games of the season, turning his focus to supporting Marcus Mariota. Daniels he was reevaluated today and not yet cleared after re-aggravating that left elbow injury. And with him medically expected to be ruled out against the Eagles facing the short week, they're just electing to move on for the season. And they are 6-point home dogs to Philadelphia this week. But what I say to this is probably a little, too late. We were questioning whether or not you should bring Jaden Daniels back at all after that injury a few weeks back. And now obviously re-aggravates the same one.
Yep. So, look, and Mariota has been serviceable yesterday, leading him to the win and getting a teaser leg home. So, if you're going to do it, make sure he's healthy, because it's big picture here for Jaden Daniels. And make sure I think in the offseason, you focus on getting your roster a little bit younger, because they tried, and I guess you give them credit. You don't want to call it a fluky NFC Championship game run, but one that would probably be hard to replicate, and they tried to capitalize on that, and instead they got a pretty old roster that got a little beat up and couldn't really do anything near what they did last year.
Also, you mentioned it before the break, but for anyone who missed it, Zach Taylor confirmed on the other side of this thing that Joe Burrow will start the rest of the season, despite them being mathematically eliminated from the postseason. As for why he'll continue to play, quote, because we want to win. Also in the division, saw a note that the Ravens rookie linebacker Teddy Buchanan out of Cal, their second leading tackler this year, he has a torn ACL. So John Harbaugh confirmed after the MRI he will be done for the season as well. In an AFC North race that just gets more interesting by the day. We talk about Monday Night Football we have on deck as the Steelers try to maintain that lead they have in the division. Ravens putting a little bit of a dent in it with the win they had yesterday, but now losing a key piece of their defense.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good effort from Baltimore yesterday. I mean, we talked about the beginning in the first half where, there's a couple of drop passes, both of them directly tied to Jamar Chase, and whether or not you were going to see Cincinnati get back out and get back up and maybe start to move their offense a little bit more. But that wasn't the case. Their offense was bad. A lot of it had to do with Baltimore, the ridiculous pick six as well. So it sucks for a team that, do we dare say maybe Baltimore's going to start to turn it around as we move forward? I don't know.
I mean,
you still can.
That's part of why we were saying for so long, hey, while you can still get a plus money number on the Ravens in the division, maybe let's take a look there. Yeah. Obviously, things have shifted back with the head-to-head, but I still just don't know what to make of this Ravens offense. One minute I think that they're there and they're on the right track and they're finally running the football. We saw a couple nice runs from Derrick Henry, and then the other is like, whoa, Lamar Jackson just looks off.
Yeah, well, and Lamar only ran the ball 2 times yesterday. So that's, they're not really steering still into using Lamar Jackson as a runner. So we'll see if that's going to be the case. But at the very least, the Baltimore may be starting to find their footing, and obviously watching with great interest a little bit later today as we'll see if they can get the Steelers to drop one against Miami and make it a little bit interesting down the stretch. Yeah,
we shall see how that one pans out tonight. We'll have some final thoughts on Monday Night Football coming up in the next segment. But for now, let's get into a little bit of college football talk, because today has actually been a pretty big day for news in college football, with a couple big name quarterbacks announcing that they're putting their names in the transfer portal. They can't technically do that until January 2nd, but still worth note, Dylan Raiola, quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and DJ Lagway of Florida, both entering the portal.
Yeah, well, and we already have a school being popping up for Dylan Raiola. His representatives. Do you care to guess what school he would like to transfer to?
Would it be Michigan?
Oregon.
Yes. Okay, replace Dante Moore?
Yeah, which I think makes some sense, right? I mean, as it's been pointed out, a couple of Oregon quarterbacks have gone under there in Lanning. And
I just feel like Michigan, even though obviously they have Bryce Underwood, I feel like Michigan's just in the conversation for everyone right now.
They should be, because Bryce Underwood might leave. Who knows? If he doesn't like it. We saw DeBoer announce, essentially, that he was going to stick around with Alabama. I would agree. There's a couple of people pointing out, a quick side note on that, because the report was that they were working on an extension for him. Why? Like, if you're Alabama or any of these teams, just go, okay, you're going to stick around, but I'll call you bluff. Say, no, we're not going to give you one. I don't know why you have to immediately ink them to an extension. But either way, for Michigan, DeBoer's out and maybe Underwood's out. And if so, I would expect that, like we were talking about, who was the other quarterback in the transfer board? Sam Leavitt, that his 4 teams were named. I would assume that Michigan gets added to that list if Bryce Underwood leaves.
Bryce Underwood leaves and they get a good coach in there that he feels like he could connect with, or anyone does, right? With the Raiola part of it, what does this make you think of Nebraska moving forward? Because I don't think that there's been a lot in this new Matt Rule era to be super excited about outside of him. And so with him being gone and you just inking Matt Rule to the new deal so that he didn't get stolen up and go somewhere else, what is there really to look back on and say, hey, this era is really working moving forward? I
don't know. I mean, so this year we did not get the rule of threes.
No, we did not.
Yeah, for those who don't remember, Matt Rule, third year in a program before this year. At his other stops, he had won 10 or more games, as you like to point out.
Except for the Carolina Panthers.
But
they can't have nice things.
I'm not going to pretend to know the intricacies of Nebraska's recruiting or where they're at, but I'm with you in that if Raiola's gone here, which it seems is the case, then it's hard to look at this and go, yeah, I'm really excited. I think this is going to be great. The future is looking pretty bright here for Nebraska. Look, these quarterbacks now, today, they switch hands. There's going to be all over the place. So they'll be able to, I think, find an adequate replacement as we move forward. But at the end of the day, it looked like it was heading in the right direction for a little bit, and then it all went sideways after they lost to Minnesota in that game on the road where they were touchdown favorites. I think it was on a Friday night, and then from there, we know what happened.
Yeah. We also saw this weekend, congrats to Fernando Mendoza on winning the Heisman Trophy. What did surprise me, though, is to see him now a minus 165 favorite to be the number 1 overall pick already for next year in 2026. Dante Moore out of Oregon, your second shot at plus 320. Reuben Baines, stud defensive end from Miami, plus 750. Arvell Reese, 10-1, the Ohio State linebacker. And Ty Simpson, Alabama quarterback, 14-1 at the top of the board for next year's number 1 pick.
So, okay, there's a couple things.
I love that sigh.
Well, I think there's a couple. First off, we get this out of the way really quickly. This seems like a very weak quarterback class for the NFL draft. I know that Fernando Mendoza is, like, as you mentioned, the favorite to be the first overall selection. The Raiders are in control of their own destiny here, so it seems like maybe they'll just take Mendoza there. But I don't know, man. I've heard, like, Kirk Cousins light. I've heard a lot of different stuff. I just don't know if I look at Fernando Mendoza and see that this dude is worthy of being the first overall selection. Yeah. And you do wonder if we get one of those drafts where there's going to be a willingness to whoever gets that pick to trade down.
Which has got to be, if you're an NFL team in need of a quarterback, so frustrating and disappointing and head-scratching after all the talk last year. Because going into last year's draft, all the conversation about, like, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and the guys that were, you know, in the top of all these draft boards was, okay, this year is a pretty weak quarterback class, but next year you're going to have all of these studs to pick from. It was
supposed to be Arch, it was supposed to be Nussmeier, it was supposed to be all of this. And like you said, now it's Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. Look, they could be... We've seen crazier things in terms of guys becoming good quarterbacks, but it does seem like that's the case, that Fernando Mendoza right now is the guy. Having said that, Spencer Rattler at one point was favored to go with the first overall selection. So lots of things change from now to the start of the draft, but it would seem very likely that a quarterback-needy team would be there. But who knows? I mean, if it's a weak class and the way that this shakes out, if it's like the Giants with the first overall pick, they probably are going to look to trade that thing away. But at the same time, would you really move up and sacrifice assets to get the first pick to go get a Fernando Mendoza? I don't know if that's the case. I don't see it.
Yeah. Also, how about Diego Pavia's reaction to not winning the Heisman?
Yeah, very good example of maybe 15 minutes of fame being a little too much for some. And maybe it should be 10.
My rule of thumb, too, is if you have to question posting something or doing something, it's probably a good sign you shouldn't do it. And we always see these people having to publicly apologize.
I mean, he didn't need to apologize. That's who he is. I mean,
but he did because he's gonna be a second-round draft pick, right?
Yes, according to one Chiefs fan or one Chiefs blog, that he's going to be a second-round pick.
Replace Patrick Mahomes
and help Mahomes
wings,
come back from the ACL injury. No, I think look, it's who you are. Like just kind of steer into it and be who you are. It's exactly. I don't think anybody buys the apology. I did like the line that was up on social media that if Axe body spray was a person. It would be Diego Pavia.
That's pretty good. We do have the college football playoff getting underway this Friday officially with the first round games. Vanderbilt will not be a part of the festivities, despite he and Clark Lee both trying to schedule an extra game a week ago to just try to strengthen the case if they could. Alabama and Oklahoma will get it started. That line is interesting to me, and I know it's only 1.5, but it is either way, depending on what book that you look at who's favored.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's Alabama. But you can still get plus 1.5 on Alabama as well.
I think we'll have to say, but we were going to be head-to-head here, right?
I believe we are, because I took the 1.5 with the Tide.
I think this is the game that I know they all, like the the Miami and Texas A&M looks pretty good. I think this is the most fascinating game on the card. A lot of people are assuming, and I'm going to guess that this is part of the analysis for you too. Hey, man, you moved the ball up and down the field against them. You turned the ball over 3 times. You only lost by 2. You should probably be able to get this done a second time around. This Alabama offense looks a lot different even from then. And that was 3 weeks ago.
I also think potentially, though, with the time off to heal up offensively, especially for Ty Simpson, could be important for them here. That said, a reminder, with the college football playoff getting underway, we've got our college football playoff betting guide out now. Go to vsin.com/CFP. You can buy the guide for just $14.99. Or, of course, if you join us as a VSiN Pro subscriber full-time, you get the guide included, plus full access to everything else we do with the network, the best bets, the real-time betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, everything. vsin.com/CFP. Again, VSIN.com/CFP.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
So I gotta tell you, I am stunned, although I shouldn't be. And I'm also a little bit ashamed in myself personally that I haven't tried this item yet. After all of the talk that we've had on the network, I still haven't been able to make the stop.
In fairness, we were going to, but there was a McDonald's here that I guess closed.
Yes, so, there was one that was right across the street. We had the plan that we were going to go to McDonald's. We were going to try a McRib for the first time, walk across. I'm all set to go that day. And then we find out that it is no longer there and that we would have to, I don't know, it was like a 10-minute drive to go to one. We had other things to do. So unfortunately, we have not tried it yet. I still need to add it to the list.
We had other things to do.
All of this to say, the reason that it's re-brought up right now is because Matt Euman's posted a photo of him with a sheet of paper that said 100 on it.
Now, you understand this reference, correct? Tell me you understand this reference here.
No.
The Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game?
Oh, okay. Yes.
This is our own Wilt
the
Chamberlain.
McRib is his trophy?
Yes. This is the Wilt Chamberlain of fast food, Matt Humans, alleging that he has had 100 McRibs already. Now, this is probably... Matt Humans has been, he's a cantankerous guy. He could probably get into some fights every once in a while. I'm sure in those disagreements, Matt Humans has been called many different things, has been insulted in many different ways. Yet you levied, I think, the most serious of insults toward Matt Humans that I think one could probably throw out there.
I said 100, like lifetime? Because I honestly, I thought lifetime it would have been more. I don't
mean this to sound as harsh as it is, but I'm going to say it. You are a fool. To think that Matt Humans has only consumed 100 McRibs in his life.
That's impressive, though.
It came out in 1981 is when it made its debut.
Genuine question, Matt, if you're listening or if someone plays this for you later.
He's not listening.
Like, what else do you have time to eat then? Or you just, since the McRib came back, are you just consuming McRibs?
You eat like 3 or 4 meals a day, don't you? All fast food?
That's like two McRibs a day?
I was going to say I'd allege probably about 2 sounds about right, maybe a little bit more.
2 to 4?
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive stuff.
It is.
Do you not get tired of eating the same thing over again?
Yeah, it came out like about November. It's almost been like exactly a month, I think, right around November the 13th.
But like I get worn out of something if I eat it too often. That I've got to change it up every now and then.
That's why Matt Humans is a different beast.
I'm impressed. I got to say. I'm impressed.
Should be. Don't ever make a foolish statement like that.
You also did something unique, eating and drinking wise this week as well.
Oh, we don't have to get into that. A lot of people got mad about it, but I tried Guinness.
Why would they be mad?
I don't know. People get mad about weird things. It was terrible.
Just mad that you didn't like it?
Yeah, it was terrible.
I've had a Guinness before, but I don't remember thinking it was like great or poor. Like it was just a beer.
It was not. I did not enjoy it.
Did you split the G?
I slammed that thing. And it was just not great.
But like you're supposed to drink it to a point.
Well, I didn't have a Guinness glass. So
okay.
I just slammed it and then opened another one and
it.
did that again. And then I was like, nope, it wasn't better the second time around.
So what is the preferred beverage of choice then?
Like overall?
Like beer number 1 on your power rankings?
I don't know. Probably Modelo. We drank a lot yesterday.
I do love a Modelo and lime.
It's very good.
I like most of the beers though that you can put like citrus in it.
Yes.
Like I like Blue Moons as well.
Big on
Throw
citrus.
an orange in there.
Sign of scurvy, a desire for citrus.
What? Why do you know that?
I don't know. It's just a weird fact. Citrus helps fight scurvy.
Let's look to our weekend recap of the best bets. Look ahead to what else we are adding to the card. Of course, we got Monday Night Football upon us to close out the Week 15 card. The teasers.
Don't tease me.
I got a little teaser happy, and they went well. 3-1 this week. The Dirty Dogs teaser. Should have known better before I put it in the account.
Some would argue teasing a same-game teaser of Army-Navy is a dirty dog teaser.
I want to say as well, Derek Ginn, who tweeted at me, said, yes, I've been listening, and I'm the dummy that took the over in the Navy game when I knew it was going to go under like it has forever. I just listened to Storm. I said my lean was on the over, okay? Mm-hmm. My best bet was the SGT, which cashed, albeit very narrowly. Like, we really needed that Navy touchdown at the end because that gets them the win. And we go the over 32.5. The Chargers and Broncos came up in the clutch with us. Chargers was also a base leg for me and another teaser with the New England Patriots. Thank goodness it didn't get more out of hand in New England with Buffalo's comeback, but they're still able to cover that 8.5 with us. It was the ugly teasing the Cardinals and the Raiders up that, like, why did I do this to myself to begin with? I don't know. And then we threw in...
neither leg got there, huh?
We threw in Matthew Stafford pass yards over 281.5. Never in doubt the way he was tearing up that secondary with more than 350 yesterday. So that was a good one. Good weekend. Good weekend.
Job.
How about you?
2-4 week for myself. Let's see. Let's look at them. Browns +8, Patriots money line. That one's going to sting a little bit here. Just given the fact that they were up as much as they were. Bengals never really in it. Seahawks never in it either, but the 2 legs that do get there are the 2 plays that get there. Chargers +5.5. I think we've kind of danced around it, mentioned it in passing, and it's obviously kind of moot now that Patrick Mahomes is injured, but man, again, another week where we sat here and watched the Chiefs just get steamed up on a side and never came close to covering a number. So Chargers get there with the outright win. So 2-4. For the weekend that was. You know,
we had a little bit of the discussion earlier when we were talking about the adjusted line against Tennessee this week with Gardner Minshew now stepping in to replace Patrick Mahomes the rest of the way. like, what do we do with this Kansas City Chiefs now? Because the market was so consistently backing them in the gotta have it situation. But, I mean, their playoff hopes are over. Their star quarterback's unavailable. What type of motivation do you really have here down the stretch?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it seems too easy to just kind of fade Kansas City. But
right?
You kind of want to. I mean, all of that aside, I don't think Gardner Minshew is a particularly good quarterback. So I think that's also something that plays into it. Minshew has a penchant for putting the ball in danger. He did and paid for it over the weekend. So it feels too easy to go, yeah, Tennessee minus plus 3.5, but that's really the only side that I would look at.
Okay. Did you end up doing anything on Monday night? I know we discussed the angle of Devon Achane props potentially. Anything you ended up firing on?
Yeah, let's go with Achane. I forgot to put this in, but yeah, Achane over 18.5 longest rush. We'll go there, minus 105. We talked about the aspect of this running attack, how good it's been. The numbers on the Steelers side, defensively not being particularly daunting against the run. Achane's been so much more explosive rush rate of over 20% since week 8. It was under 15% in the first 7 games. They've looked and found a way to generate more explosive runs. He's been dynamic. It's a big reason why. And it's kind of cold, obviously. And I think it's going to be part of the game plan here to get this running game going as it is every single week. So we'll go with Miami.
It's going to be
Miami.
Yeah,
we'll go with the Achane over. But I do think Miami would be the side if you were to ask me what's going on here. Achane over longest rush.
Contemplated Achane attempts. Nothing that I'm going to do as a best bet. I might end up on that still before kickoff, but no best bets for me officially in this game. That said, on the way out here, I did want to just reiterate a couple fascinating stats and streaks and trends coming into this one for anybody who missed us in the first hour. The Steelers have not lost a Monday night game in Pittsburgh since 1991, October 14th of 91 against the Giants when it was Three Rivers Stadium back in the day. They have won 22 straight home Monday night games. And Mike Tomlin as a head coach, at home or away, has been unbelievable in Monday night games as well. 21-3 straight up, a better than 87% win percentage all time on Monday night. That said, Steelers also in primetime this season, 0-3. Has not gone well for them under the lights this year. And without TJ Watt, who is missing this game and potentially beyond, we have to see the repercussions or the fallout of the partially punctured lung surgery repair he had to have this past Thursday. But Pittsburgh's just 1-10 in the 11 games that TJ Watt has missed since 2017. So a few conflicting stats there potentially, but I thought the Monday night numbers were pretty fascinating for Tomlin and this team as a whole.
Yeah. I feel like it's got to be kind of just like a cool, like, I don't want to call it a
coincidence that's lasted,
24 games. Yeah. It's like, what is it about a Monday that's just like, all right, cool, we're ready to go. I mean, I guess, so you always try to make the argument of things. Is it just that Tomlin is really good with an extra day of preparation? Like, could that explain some of what you see here? Maybe. But to win at that rate? Maybe. 21-3?
Maybe.
Just because he's playing on Monday night?
You mentioned the cold weather games as well for Miami. Yes, last week against the Jets was a cold one, but not cold enough to meet this metric of sub 40-degree kickoff temps. They have lost 13 straight when it has been under 40 degrees to start the game. Over the last 10, 1-9 against the spread in that time, averaging 17.7 points per game and a negative 17.5 point differential. So, I mean, Tua in the cold and that offense operating in the cold has not gone well. So,
by the way, did you have this one too? In terms of total games coached
Hit me
on
with
Monday
one
night?
more.
Do you know who the leader is in terms of head coaches with just games coached on Monday night?
Oh, I do not. That's good.
Andy Reid has 36. Bill Belichick, 33. Sean Payton, 27.
Okay.
And Tomlin checks in. This will be his 25th, right? Yeah, 21-3, so 25th.
The one thing I thought was interesting with the Tomlin number for his win percentage, he's second technically in win percentage on Monday night because John Madden was number 1, but he coached in like 13 games or something like that. So significantly lesser number. That said, fun show as always on a Monday. Like there's so much to talk about and react to. Looking forward to everything that's to come this week, especially with the college football playoff officially getting underway Friday. Reminder that CFP betting guide, vsin.com/CFP if you want to get it a la carte for $14.99 or of course join us on a full-time basis. That's a wrap for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. For Jonathan Von Tobel, our producer Justin Emery, and all of our hardworking, awesome people behind the glass, I'm Stormy Buonantony. Have a great day. Good luck with your bets. Mitch and Paulie, follow the money. Coming up next.